Oh, daddy, Ryan Kalkbrenner has a new baby, and then he sons the Milwaukee Bucks. The Hornets get a win. I can't wait to dig into the notebook here on Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
Welcome in. I'm Doug Branson, and this is Locked On Hornets, your daily podcast on the Charlotte Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now the #1 sports podcast network, and that's you. That's you, by the way. You helped do that, so we appreciate it. You can find my work on everyhornetsboxscore.com. I just put up the recap of this 111-100 win by the Charlotte Hornets over the Milwaukee Bucks. That notches their 4th win of the season. They moved to 4-7 on the season. A lot to dig into. I'm normally joined by Walker Mail of Wes and Walker on WFNZ 12 to 3. Not here because I'm sure, as most of you who watched the game saw, he was on the local broadcast, basically filling in for Terrence Oglesby and he did the little fourth quarter hit, he did the halftime hit, he did the pregame show, looking good and doing it well as he always does. Walker Mail, please don't leave me. I'm kidding, he never would, right? Right? No, of course not. Not when the Hornets are winning, not when they have this rookie class that is stunning the world. Biggest story out of this game is the physicality that was on display by the Charlotte Hornets, the most physical they've been all season against a Giannis-less Milwaukee Bucks team. That was a huge factor in this game as well. Not going to sugarcoat it. But the way they were able to consistently be physical in this game, they held the Bucks to under 30 points in all 4 quarters. I don't care if they didn't have Giannis. That's impressive for a Charlotte Hornets team that has really they can't defend the officials, much less the opposing team this season. So that was super impressive. And when you just look at the game score leaders in this game, it's Ryan Kalkbrenner, it's Moussa Diabate, it's Colin Sexton, Pat Connaughton showing up there against his old team. But let's start at the top. Ryan Kalkbrenner, you see, if you're watching on YouTube, you see it on the little sidebar there, baby daddy baby hooks, because Ryan Kalkbrenner, questionable heading into this game, didn't know if he was going to play for personal reasons, but we all knew what the personal reasons were. He was having his first, I believe it was his first child, first baby. Congratulations to the Kalkbrenner family. And he does play, and he was one of, if not the biggest reasons they win this game. 17 points, 9 rebounds, a perfect 8 of 8 from the field. He was, as Eric Collins pointed out, and Del Curry a little bit too, like he was using that for, dad energy, just had a baby energy. And I can attest to that. You do when you have the baby, there is a little bit of that, like you're gearing up. You're like, I'm a dad now. I can go out and lift a car. You don't want to do that, but you have that sort of like amped up energy. So maybe that's what's fueling him. And good news for Ryan, the next time when he comes down off of that, the next time he has a bad game, he has a built-in excuse, as I've been saying for years. Once you have the baby, you just say, a tough game out there, I have a baby. Now you have to voice it. We're not just going to give it to you, Ryan. We're not just going to say, hey, it's okay, you just had a baby. No one does that. You have to say it, and then you make everybody uncomfortable, and then they have to go, oh yeah, that's right. He's a new father, so we have to give him a little bit of leeway. So just a little tip there for Ryan Kalkbrenner, but he didn't need many tips in this game. He also had 4 stocks, 3 of those being a block, and 1 of those being a steal. Only 3 fouls. He would look. I mean, if he catches it around the basket at this point, you're already dead. Like there's just nothing you can do about it, and he's not doing it with some kind of overwhelming like physical presence. He's not Dwight Howard down there with the rocks for shoulders and just yamming it in your face. No, he's using the baby hooks. He's using the feather soft touch, and he just uses the glass. I mean, he just finds a way to get that ball in the basket. And meanwhile, when the ball on the defensive glass, this is the thing that I noticed over and over in this game. It was Kalkbrenner on the defensive glass. As soon as the ball goes up for the Milwaukee Bucks, Kalkbrenner immediately looking for anyone to block out. And if he couldn't find a Buck, I'm pretty sure he would have blocked out Colin Sexton. He immediately goes and looks for somebody to block out, right? And then not only does that, he stays with it. He's physical. He says, look, I might not have the broad shoulders, but I'm 7'1". I can stay in front of you if I try really hard. I'm going to keep you off this glass. Multiple rebounds of the total 9 that he had. 4 of those offensive. So he was getting his work done on the offensive glass as well, but 5 of those defensive. And I would say, I'm totally guessing here. I know 1 for sure was in traffic, but I would really guess that like 2 or 3 of those were in traffic rebounds and not just gimmies, because he is out there affecting. And I'll tell you one thing, maybe one day in the NBA, they'll be able to track, kind of like they do a screen assist now, which some people call a fake stat, some people call a real stat. I like another fake stat for when you do a great job at blocking out, you're going to facilitate rebounds for other people. It's like hockey rebounds, like hockey assists. I mean, there were so many plays where Kalkbrenner, just by being physical, just by blocking out, was allowing other Hornets to get in there and do it. And Moussa Diabate, who was a 3rd in game score in this game, was 7 points, 13 rebounds, team leading rebounds, 13, and 2 assists. He does the same thing, but honestly, it's on both ends, offensive and defensive. He commands so much attention on the boards. I think Kalkbrenner blocks out, and Moussa, just with his effort and just shoving and bumping and grinding. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. You know that, especially on the boards. And he was doing it, and he commands, and this is something that Charles Lee pointed out post-game, like he commands attention. A lot of players command attention when they're on ball. LaMelo Ball commands double teams. Brandon Miller can command double teams. My guy Moose is commanding double teams down low, and if there's 2 guys trying to block Moose out, then you've got Bridges, you've got Sexton. Who else had an offensive rebound in this game? So Moussa had 8 offensive rebounds. That allows Miles to get an offensive rebound. Liam McNeely get an offensive rebound. Mason Plumlee threw one in there for good measure. So it's just like the ripple effects of the physicality. But we've seen that from Kalkbrenner and Diabate. It was also Con Knippel who struggled offensively in this game, but you constantly saw him getting his hips out there, hips in front, squared up, pushing on Kyle Kuzma, pushing on AJ Green, making life more difficult. You saw Sion James as Ryan Rollins was just tearing up the floor, threatening to get this Bucks team back into the game. You saw Sion James put the full court pressure on this Milwaukee Bucks team. Just really, I think, a full team effort. I mean, I'll throw some love Miles' way. 26-6 in this game, 7 of 19 from the field. Another struggle, particularly from outside, where he was 2 of 10 and hit one of those really late. So he spent a lot of this game being 1 of 10. So shooting a struggle, but limited the turnovers. Another big storyline. Maybe we get to more of that because I think there was a reason why they won this game and they couldn't win the Lakers game. The big difference, and I think you know what it is. Maybe we'll talk about that more in a second. It was Tre Mann being aggressive offensively. Like, the physicality goes both ways, by the way. You don't have to just be physical. Teams aren't just physical defensively. They are physical offensively too. I thought Tre Mann was that. I thought Colin Sexton normally that, but played it in a more controlled way this time. And then I thought KJ Simpson had some moments offensively. Liam McNeely had a sequence, and that's what when you're talking about 4th rookie of the 3 rookies that have been getting significant playing time. Liam, you just want sequences, and he had a good sequence here to continue to build the confidence. All right, I put out on the subtext line, joinsubtext.com/Locked On Hornets, the Sicko Brigade, otherwise known. I put out an all call, Sicko celebrations. I wanted everyone to get involved in this show. I see it's like a caller board. They're just lighting up. People are excited about this win. I'm excited, and we've got much more show ahead. Coming up on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Bees everywhere!
The bees were everywhere on top of this Giannis-less team. More from this game. How did they get an 11-point win? Score not indicative because the white flag was waved by Doc Rivers, and some of those guys got some shots up, fresh legs over the tired legs, pulled this thing within 11. We'll talk more about this game coming up. Locked On Hornets. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. They have been supporting this show for a very long time. We got to show them support as well. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. It keeps every single game exciting, and though the Hornets had a big lead in this one, it was still exciting to see this team play physically. I'm not sure how you can bet on that on FanDuel, but I bet they'll find a way. Especially when your team's making that late push, it is extremely exciting to get involved with FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards that you can actually use. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and even more. But Built isn't just about rent, it's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. Built has made everyday life feel more rewarding, from your neighborhood to your travel plans. For example, you're grabbing food at your favorite local restaurant, or you're heading to the gym, you're still earning rewards all around the hood, and you're supporting that local business. So it's a double win for everyone. Turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use that link so that they know we sent you. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Back here on Locked On Hornets, let's get over to the Sicko Brigade. We'll start with Rocky from Salisbury, who just says very simply, great game. And sometimes the simple things are the best things to say. And this was a great game. I thought the loss to the Lakers was a very predictable loss. It doesn't make it any easier, particularly when you play so well in the first half and you look like maybe, just maybe, they're going to get a season-defining win against the Los Angeles Lakers, who were at full health, and you just could not maintain it. And the Hornets, starting with that Pelicans loss, that was the first loss where you went, okay, they've stopped beating the teams that they were supposed to beat, and now they're just getting beat. And so this game against Milwaukee, finally turning things around. We got a somewhat positive update from Coach Lee on LaMelo Ball pregame. This is from Willie P. over at WFNZ on Twitter. Charles Lee called LaMelo Ball's practice with the Greensboro Swarm a, quote, positive step, unquote, and he responded well this morning. Final quote here, he's trending in the right direction. And so maybe that trend will continue as he sees the Hornets picking up the pieces without him. Let's go to more from the Sicko Brigade, and this one comes in from Shuman of the 22nd Byron Mullins Regiment, who says, what a great gift on my birthday to get a well-earned win. Absolutely, and happy birthday to Shuman, who has supported this show for so long that Shuman probably remembers the YouTube live episodes once a week that we used to do when we first joined up with Locked On. It's almost been 10 years. Can you believe it? I cannot. This one coming from Hunter from the 43rd Joe Wolf Battalion. Not necessarily the Bucks game only, but we were all worried about our center rotation. Statistically, where do our centers rank in the league? All right, well, that's a great question. And that's one that I think is worthy of some research to see where things stack up, Hunter. But I mean, I can tell you, look, they're playing their tails off, right? I mean, there's no question there's effort. There's no question this game, lots of physicality. We've seen, stretches of that from this center rotation. But if we're being realistic, it still has some problems. Now, on the last episode, if you watched the last episode, I sort of half advocated for the Hornets to look, if the Sacramento Kings are talking fire sale, and when I hear fire sale, I don't hear we're going to demand 2 or 3 picks for some of our star players. I hear, hey, we'd like to get this money off the books. We'll take a pick, please and thank you, and we'll help you out as well. We'll scratch, back scratching both ways. So if I hear that and I think Sabonis is gettable, I think Sabonis, like whatever you think about Kalkbrenner, whatever you think about Moussa Diabate, Sabonis is an all-star level player. Ryan Kalkbrenner might get to that. I don't think that having a player like Sabonis precludes Ryan Kalkbrenner from continuing his development. If I'm being honest, it might hurt Moussa's, because without him being able to shoot threes, where does that put him? Now, you're moving in a potential deal like that. You're moving Miles Bridges, I think, to make the salaries work, or I don't think you're going to move LaMelo Ball, because I don't think Sacramento would want LaMelo Ball in a fire sale situation. So you're moving Miles Bridges. It does open up some room in the 4 rotation, even when Grant Williams returns from injury. If you're thinking Tijon Salon going to stay down in Greensboro for most of the season, then it does open some room up for Moussa to continue to play at that 4, where I think he's sized, more appropriately, because as much effort as we saw in this game, there were not dominant physical presences in the middle for the Milwaukee Bucks. No Giannis, Miles Turner didn't want it, Bobby Portis didn't want it, a lot of smaller guards that were not going to really, and a few smaller wings too that were not really going to challenge you much in terms of defensive rebounding. And so Moussa, to his credit, whenever he finds those advantages, he takes advantage of them, which is not a given with the center rotation of the past. I won't name any names, but you know exactly who I'm thinking about, okay? Same goes for Kalkbrenner. But all you have to do is go back to that Lakers game and see how Kalkbrenner, the foot speed being taken advantage of by Luka in the first half, they go to Moussa for the second half, and they go right inside to Ayton. And so that's a combo platter, right? It is bigger center, can get up, and DeAndre Ayton, but it's also a point guard that can deliver on, a point guard, combo guard, wing, all NBA MVP level player. And so look, when we have all of these conversations, I try to have them both from like a realistic, what are the realistic objectives of this current Hornets team? It's totally development season. It's not about, I think my guy Evan Hale, who we'll get together for a Every Hornets Box Score podcast that we do once a week. We'll get together for that in the next day or two. But I thought he brought something up interesting in the Every Hornets Box Score chat tonight, where he said, they're not, and I think he may have been relaying it from someone else's observation. So this is a borrowed observation twice baked potato here. But they talk a lot about building a winning culture, not necessarily like trying to win right now. There's like a difference between, hey, we want to build a winning culture, but understanding that like fundamentally this is not a roster that can win right now. They're not built like that. And so to say, hey, we're trying to win right now would be silly. But I also try to think about like, okay, if they did all of a sudden decide that, or they decided in the offseason, then let's also talk about it from the perspective of what do teams that win in the playoffs actually need from their center rotation, from their wing rotation, from their guard rotation. What do they need? And so when you think about it like that, Kalkbrenner and Diabate, relative to some of the center rotations that the Hornets have had in the past that were not physical enough, that were not skilled enough. I mean, Kalkbrenner's skill at scoring is great, but we haven't seen him shoot a three yet. He doesn't pass. So, all of those things, it's like, yes, I mean, it's obvious Sabonis would be an upgrade, but I can also see the Hornets saying, look, we think we have something special here in Kalkbrenner, and we're going to play it out. They could definitely go down that road and eschew a center opportunity, whether it be Sabonis, whether they want to get absolutely insane and go after another team that looks like they may be breaking it all down, Anthony Davis. That would be, oh my God. Maybe, look, if they're trying to reverse a curse, if you do feel cursed as a Hornets fan, I'm not going to sit here on this podcast and advocate for the Charlotte Hornets to go and get a player that can't stay healthy. That would be local podcast malpractice on a Meow Mix level. Okay. I'm not going to do that. But if you're just talking about reversing curses, it seems very reversey cursey to me to go out and get the guy that you just missed out on in favor of MKG, and the Pelicans were the team that were favored in that. Okay, I'm going to move on before I get too many angry comments. Coming up on the Locked On Hornets podcast, I do want to go back to, I want to get as many of these sicko comments from the Sicko Brigade in as I can. We've got a few more on the board here, so we'll get to those. Plus some final thoughts on a Hornets win, 111-100 over the Milwaukee Bucks. Stay with us. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets is brought to you by our friends at Mint Mobile. If you are still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Say yes to making the switch and get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk, and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and your contacts. The setup is super easy. You keep your number and then you are up and running in minutes. If you're ready to say yes to saying no, sure you are. Make the switch at mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. That's mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Last segment here on Locked On Hornets. Let's get to more of your comments from the Sicko Brigade. This one comes in from Andrew of the 31st Rambus Brigade, the good goggles. How do you win even with a cooler shooting night? ? Rebounds and free throws. We hit 23 free throws to their 8 and out-hustled them 50-34 on the boards. Good composure by the rookies until the last couple of minutes. Professional win. Yes. And thank you, Andrew, because you've turned my focus to one of the things that I wanted to look at from this game, and that is the dreaded third quarter. I mentioned it on the last episode while recapping the Lakers' loss, that the Hornets, particularly after they lost LaMelo Ball, have been god-awful in the third quarter, a net rating that I think was hovering around -29. Like, it was putrid for the Charlotte Hornets in the third quarter, a third quarter that cost them that game against the Lakers. So in this one, you had the Hornets winning the third quarter 24-22. You hold Milwaukee to 22 points on 39% shooting, 9 of 23, and not a lot of free throws in that quarter. It was a little bit more of an ethical quarter than some of the others. But on two-pointers, the Hornets 7 of 13 versus 7 of 17 for the Milwaukee Bucks. But here are the real numbers. 3, 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers. Only 3 turnovers. They finally focused and held the ball in check. Not a lot of above the free throw line turnovers. If you're new to the show, it's one of my pet peeves, the above the free throw line turnovers, because they're live ball turnovers, and live ball turnovers, regardless of whether they're above the free throw line or not, those get turned into transition buckets for the other team. In this third quarter, only 2 fast break points for the Milwaukee Bucks of those 22. And so you can't have the above the free throw line, because those are almost guaranteed buckets, because then you can't even get your transit. You don't even have a chance to get your transition defense back unless you just have stoppers up top, which, by the way, I mean, Knipple had a great stop in transition. But if you give time for Moussa or Kalkbrenner or somebody, or Miles Bridges or someone to get back, then you at least give yourself an opportunity to make it tougher on them to score those transition buckets if you're not giving it up above the free throw line. So those are the killers. And the Hornets, they didn't do a lot of that. They didn't do too much dribbling and, on that, getting picked on that initial attack. If there were turnovers, it was happening, swipes down low. You don't love to see a lot of those, but if it's going to happen, let it be on those aggressive drives and let it happen down low instead of on the initial attack. So that's what happened in this game, and just all across the board. Let me see the full game turnover mark for the Charlotte Hornets. 16. Not a great number, but not a catastrophic number. I mean, they've been doing 19, 20, and look, Milwaukee did score 24 points off of those turnovers to the Hornets' 9 points off the turnovers, but the fast break points, that's an even mark at 12 and 12. So there was a little bit more getting back into transition than second chance points. That's the big number, which was 19-5 in favor of the Charlotte Hornets, and they reduced their own fouls. I'm sure Milwaukee will look at this game. I'm sure Milwaukee fans, I know Doc Rivers will look back at this game and blame the refs and look at the free throw disparity as the main culprit. And maybe Doc Rivers does that to the media, after the game. But I think in his heart of hearts, he knows that his team got out physicaled, that this was not an issue of the referees, giving the Hornets home court advantage here. This was a team that pushed first, that hit first. And when you do that, I think it does affect how games are officiated. I think when you hit first, when you set the tone of physicality, I do think, and this is OKC made a championship out of doing this, where they would come out of the gates just firing on teams with their physicality and saying, hey, referees, can you call everything? Do you really want to start this game with 10 straight whistles? No, you don't. You want everybody to have a good time. Look at that. That guy's got a beer. She's got a hot dog. Everybody's good. They want to have a good time. You're not going to call all those fouls. So you set the tone early and you force the whistle your way. And so I do think there is something to that, and I think the Hornets were able to do that. But it wasn't all the way this game was whistled. It was just the Hornets beating the Milwaukee Bucks to the spot, whether it was rebounds, loose balls, whatever it was, getting into them early, ball pressure. It was all there for the Charlotte Hornets. A fantastic win. I'm not going to, I'm sure you may have, because we've all been itching for the Charlotte Hornets to get off the schneid and get a win here without LaMelo Ball, hopefully just to coax him off the bench. Like, LaMelo, wasn't that fun to watch? What do you want to come and hang out? It's like when you're, everybody wants LaMelo back, right? And this team, it would be a lot easier for the Charlotte Hornets to get wins if LaMelo were back. But they get a tough one here without him. I'm not going to put the big dub hat on because they didn't have Giannis. Now, they may welcome Giannis back. In fact, it's almost a certainty that they're going to welcome him back in the second game of this 2-game slate against the Milwaukee Bucks, because in this game he was on, they called it a knee issue, but I think this is just load management. I think even Doc may get dinged for this, but I think he admitted it pre-game that this was a load management issue for them. All right, this is what I want to do to close out the show. I want to send one more congrats to the Kalkbrenner family. New baby changes your life in all of the best ways. And so, yeah, That's awesome. All right, let me get to some more of these Sicko Brigade comments too. Next one is going to come from 913. You know who you are, and if you've given me your name already, I apologize. Send it to me again so I can get it in the notes so that I can tell your sort of handle. And when you join the Sicko Brigade, you get to pick your handle and you get to pick who you want to be in your sort of like Rambus Brigade, Mullins Regiment kind of thing. So 913, if you've sent it to me before, go ahead and send it to me again when you hear this show. Everyone is going to discount this because Giannis didn't play, but this shows that Chef Jeff and Charles Lee have the pieces in place to do something real moving forward, whether that includes LaMelo or what we get in return from him. Great comment, 913. Con Knipple at the top of NBA.com's rookie ladder. You've got people like Zach Lowe. You've got the Ringer. You've got everyone noticing, hey, the Hornets have something going on, not just with Con Knipple, but they've got something going on with this entire rookie class where they've identified some players that have both a mentality, but also a skill level such that not only can they develop for the future, but they can contribute to a team that desperately needs contributions right now. And they're doing it in a way that feels sustainable. It's not just hot shooting. In fact, Con Knipple has had several games this season where the shooting hasn't been hot, and this was one of them, and he found ways to contribute to winning. So it is super exciting for the Charlotte Hornets. You're feeling two kinds of ways about the team right now, I'm sure. You're looking at it and saying, my God, I'm just so tired of watching this team without the highest paid player and the highest drafted player in LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. I'm so tired of watching this team without the best players. And yet, unlike in previous years when that was the case, the future looks a lot brighter when you have three rookies making serious contributions and even Liam McNeely having little stretches that you go, okay, he gets some seasoning in Greensboro, he can come back. Maybe he's not going to be a star, but they're looking at him like a Swiss Army knife. They're looking at him like when you look at teams that have true depth, they're 10th and 11th guys. When two guys have to rest, Liam McNeely can come in and pop off for 15, 5, and 3. Those but just like guaranteed. Like you're never going to have to worry about him. The idea is that you're never going to have to worry about Liam McNeely coming in and just being a nothing, just a 0 on the box score. I think that's what they want him to develop into. All right, one more here from the Sicko Brigade. And this one comes from Roger of the 23rd Tre Mann division. He's all about the Tre I, and Tre I was on display. I thought, let me get to my game notes here. There was a particular stretch for Tre Mann. I noted it in my game notes. Huge key offensive contributions for Tre Mann during the run in the first half that extended the lead, and I thought he hit a couple of big buckets too. Big drive in the second half that helped them maintain that lead and not give it up. All right, here's what Roger says. Doug, I've seen some great chemistry on offense and defense tonight. The Rooks were in control. Kalkbrenner and Moussa showing some great skill around the board. Sion defended well against ball handlers. Yes, he did. Khan facilitated and stuffed the stat sheet, which is becoming the usual for him. I love it. Roger, I love the contributions here on the Sicko Brigade, and I love what I saw from the Charlotte Hornets tonight. Hopefully, they can keep it going the rest of the week and into the weekend. They've got a Friday, Saturday back-to-back that should be exciting. Walker Mail going to take you into the weekend. He will give you all of his thoughts, I'm sure, tomorrow on what he saw inside the arena doing the broadcast. My boy Walker, getting the call up. You love to see it. Support him. Listen to Wes and Walker every day. They do a daily radio show every single day on WFNZ. You can check that out. You can check me out on everyhornetsboxscore.com. Every. This show, Locked On Hornets, we're on every single day. We're covering this team. Whether LaMelo Ball plays or not, who gets traded, who knows what's going to happen. One thing you do know consistently, We'll be here for the sickos. We are your outlet. We both for the sicko celebrations and the sicko lamentations. We're here for it all because we're having fun, because it's basketball. It's something that's the thing. Like, yeah, the losing has been difficult. The injuries have been difficult. But at the end of the day, you get to watch hoops. And God bless that. All right. For Walker, I'm Doug saying go Hornets, go America. Let's swarm Charlotte. Congrats once again to the Kalkbrenner family. We'll see you next time.